Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Her Panwo TV. I'm Ben Emlyn Jones and I'm here with Jean Skinner. Hello Jean, how are you?
Hello.
Thanks for inviting me here today to talk to you. It's good to talk to you. What is it you do?
What is it I do? Are you talking about a particular strain of mediumship here?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I'm quite well known because of transfiguration, which is something that not everyone can do, because basically you have to sort of have a chemical makeup in your being to produce this kind of phenomenon.
Right.
There are different forms that people mistakenly take for real transfiguration, called mouldings. And that's a very different thing altogether, because true transfiguration is done with ectoplasm. Now this ectoplasm, and when you say this word, most people immediately think of great mounds of dense energy as you get in fully materialized forms. But of course it isn't like that at all. There's a very fine web of energy just in front of the facial features. And what spirit actually do is basically walk through my conscious mind to press their features into that very fine web of energy, therefore showing themselves as they remember themselves. And I want you to think about that, because I have found over the years from experience that people invariably say, well, you look so much younger. But I always say, when I die, if I'm 95, when I die, I'm never going to look a day older than 25. And people tend to portray themselves, I think, as they think of themselves at their best time in their lives.
So when they come through in spirit,
Yes.
no matter what they were like when they died, because of course we live a whole lifespan, we start as little babies, and if we're lucky we end up dying when we're old.
Mentioning babies, right, in California, one family of 7 came, the mother and her 6 daughters, and daughters and granddaughters, and they saw the grandmother transfigure, and they said, but Nana, you look so much younger than when you died, and you never know what spirit are going to do. You can't predict what they're going to do. And she went from showing herself when she was 95 years of age, she went all the way back in different stages to the baby's face, and her family recognized that baby's face as her, genuinely her. And then she went all the way back again from being an infant to being 95 years of age.
So she showed her face as she looked in different stages of her whole
Whole
lifespan.
life, yes, yes.
So the ectoplasm, which is material that is associated with manifestation mediums and people
Yes.
like that. What the effect of it being over your face means that for the sitter, it'll look as if your face changes and it turns into a different form. And we have some examples here actually in picture form. These pictures were taken while you were in trance.
Yes.
See these, ladies and gentlemen? These are pictures here of Jean. And so, when were these taken?
Oh, I can't tell you off the top of my head.
That's all right.
I'd have to go back. This was probably in the very beginning when I first started to work publicly. You know, because I sat for 8 years
And
before I worked publicly.
when did you first realise that you had this remarkable ability?
Well, I didn't see it. Other people saw it and I didn't. And we were just so thrilled. None of us, my group and I, we knew nothing about physical phenomena. And it was so exciting, the different things that happened. Absolutely wonderful. But overall, I have to say, it was the great feeling of love. And I look at mediumship today and I think they've missed all that. That element has gone from their work, and that's a great shame, because it would benefit themselves as well as everyone else if they work that little bit harder.
I much prefer the kind of mediumship and the kind of spiritualist churches where it's less commercial and it's less about publicity and ego.
That's right.
Whereas
It is not entertainment.
No, it's not.
What about the circle, when you have the flame?
When I had
The flame, the candle.
the candle.
Tell Ben that.
Well, in the very beginning, communication with spirit at that time, the first phenomena began with a candle. Now you think, how can that begin with a candle? But we got flowers manifesting in the candle flame, and the wick of the candle would be the stem of the flower, and around it would build up petals. We've had Madonna lilies, we've had pansies, roses, we had the colours. Absolutely, it was just a wonderful experience, an expression of love, because they can't speak to us, can they?
No.
They can get their message across, depending how good the mediumship is, but they can't actually speak to us in so many words, unless, of course, you have direct voice, which is a different mediumship again.
Very often I find that with spirits, I mean, there's no doubt that spirits appear to have an awareness of who they were in their previous life.
Of course they know.
And they have memories of their lives to
Of course they do.
And they have the ability to see our world.
Yes, they do.
And I think this is where the role of the medium comes in. And,
That's very important.
Yeah. So what do you say to the people who would come out and they say, well, this is all nonsense, it doesn't exist, it's all in your imagination?
Yeah. Well, I can only say, I know on 3 occasions when I've been demonstrating in workshops run by a very reputable lady who was a wonderful medium herself. We had on 3 occasions atheists, and they each said to me after they witnessed what they did that night, I was an atheist when I came in here tonight, but I'm going away and I believe in the afterlife.
Oh wow, that's amazing. It's very often it's just simply having that experience and looking at the actual evidence, which is real when you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's well, I've got skeptic friends, you know. I don't object that most of them are well behaved, but I do feel that it is a belief system of theirs in a sense. It's an almost like religious type belief system of its own, I find.
Well, to me it is a religion, but I know I had a television producer and a director. I didn't know them, they were just there in the audience. And they were so thrilled at what they witnessed that night. They said that they went back to the television studios and they had to get everybody, that means the cameraman, the people who put the money up for the programme, they had to get them all to work for nothing so they could put it across as a real demonstration of mediumship, meaning that it was not going to be portrayed as entertainment.
Right.
And the only way they could do that was if everyone was willing to work for nothing.
I see. So that's quite it's good to have these kinds of conditions set, because the mainstream media generally, I find, has a poor record of the way they portray this. Maybe that's putting it lightly. And I've seen some pretty awful programs about paranormal.
Yes, they're
things
dreadful.
like that, yeah. And I mean, your own experience with there's a pussycat here. That noise you heard a minute ago was not actually a ghost, or it's the cat coming in. There's a pussycat by my feet. Now, what's your own experience of dealing with the mainstream media generally? Because I know you've been in several TV shows and things like this.
I always refused television. I walked out of one.
Well, you've been in.
I do regret walking. I wouldn't go. David Frost, I regret that very much, and Esther Ranson, because of the experience I had, where they were telling me what I had to reply.
Oh, that's a problem, isn't it? Yeah, that's not the right way to do it.
It's not a script, and I know other people who've been on television, And I know they get handed a script. And if this is a genuine inquiry, they don't need a script.
You have made several. I know you've made a documentary or two because I've seen one of your
Yeah.
documentaries. But is this privately produced? It's never been broadcast.
Oh yes, yes,
Oh, right.
yes. Cost me an arm and a leg.
Well, it's worth it. It's very, very interesting.
Yes.
It's worth getting hold of the DVD if you
And your book.
can. Yeah, and you're an author. You've written several books.
No, I wrote one book,
One.
and it was kept within the movement because Spirit meant a great deal to me, and I didn't want it ridiculed. You have the likes of James Randi. I feel sorry for him because he wants so much to get this evidence, but he never will, because the energy that he gives off, he has such hatred about it all.
It does, yeah. It's very,
In any
angry.
medium works with energy. What you portray, that is what you portray, energy. So it's impossible for him to get that evidence that he was, because he creates an adverse effect. It's impossible. Spirit work with love, not with hatred.
So the actual feelings of the people involved is very has enormous influence on the outcome.
Well, they don't all have to believe, and I've met many people who haven't believed, you know, and it's a wonderful experience when, you know, can I tell you one tale
Of
about,
course.
I went to Holland, and the people there had never seen phenomena with the table phenomena, which is how spirit first began to communicate
It's like table tipping.
with people. Yes.
Hmm.
And a lot of people, you know, they look down on that. It's a very basic mediumship. It's very basic indeed. But it was the first communication, table rapping. And as I say, these people had never seen it. But the people, the energy they create gets that table moving. But once the table moves, then a very definite, intelligent mind takes over. And that's when you get your evidence. And I remember the students did not believe in it. And when it did started to rotate, I realized that the table, because it was a pedestal table, round, and it was, instead of going around, just the table top was rotating, and it was unwinding. And I was so terrified that it would fly off and someone would get hurt, because it was moving.
Oh, it was one of those ones with
place.
there's like a screw which
Yes,
attaches
yes,
it to a
yes.
single pedestal.
Yes, and I can't tell you what I said because I was a bit tired, and I was speaking to spirit in my head, and I really thought this tabletop was going to fly off and hurt someone. Anyway, it stopped and it rewound itself. It actually rewound itself. So there you have an intelligent mind.
That's a really amazing.
You're
thing,
talking to an
yeah. You
intelligence.
can communicate. They can talk to them. Yeah, I've done
Yeah.
table tipping twice in Nottingham, and it's
Yeah.
quite amazing. I had everyone was just putting their fingers lightly on the
That's
tabletop,
right.
and the skeptics put this down to ideomotor effect,
Yeah.
which is sort of, you know, a subconscious movement. But honestly, we weren't touching it. One of us took our hands off, and
Yeah.
the table didn't continue
No.
the same movement.
No, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
it's a really remarkable thing. That.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is, yes.
I
I've seen tables dancing with one another.
was watching a video shot by Maureen actually, Truth
Yeah.
Seekers North East. It was actually moving into the audience. This table.
Well, it does.
Someone bolted, didn't they? Really frightened.
Well, I remember a young man, none of them had seen table dancing, and it was just local. It was to raise funds for a healing sanctuary, and he got his grandmother, and apparently loved her so much she wouldn't go away, and he tried to climb up onto the rostrum. That would be the altar in an ordinary church. He tried to climb up, and the table was climbing on the chair after him, and he actually ran out, and the table followed him out. Couldn't get through the door. It couldn't get through the door. It was trying desperately to get through the door into the garden where he'd gone, but it actually followed him. So
That's
we're
amazing.
talking about and intelligence there.
You certainly are, yes. And have you ever been involved in psychical research?
I haven't deliberately not been involved. I just haven't really had the opportunity. I was asked years and years ago, to go to Japan, but the woman who was going to go with me, Eileen Roberts, she had prior engagements, and so we couldn't travel together.
And it's something that fascinates me, psychical research. Although it varies in terms of quality. I mean, there's Helen Duncan, for example.
Yeah.
She was tested in 1930 by several people in London.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they were trying to commit scientific fraud,
Yeah.
and she got caught up in the middle of it, and it put her off for life, I think.
Yeah,
So it varies very much, I think.
yes, it does.
So always go to someone reputable, someone you can trust,
Yeah.
who's approved by, say, the various psychical research people like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So if people want to find out more about you, how can they find out more? Do you have a website or anything like that?
I do.
Don't use
I've
any
never, I've always demonstrated for the movement. I've never really worked for myself.
But the book is called...
What's the title of the book?
Oh, well, you can't get it now unless
Oh,
someone
right.
sells it second hand.
There may be a few
It's
copies.
very rare.
Oh, is it?
It's rare, but people can get it on Amazon if
Yeah.
somebody submits a copy.
Yeah. It was called The Face Beyond the Face.
The Face Beyond
But
the
I
Face.
am in the process of doing another book.
Mhm.
Mostly, I'm hoping it will be about teaching about the quality and the standard of mediumship.
Right.
Because anybody can be psychic. Anybody can be psychic. But you need a true connection to the spirit world. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about psychic mediumship here. We're talking about mediumship with quality behind it and
Right.
evidence.
I see. Right.
Psychic means you're seeing here and now on this level.
Mm.
You could do that.
Yeah.
Here and now on this level. But working for a living, if you're psychic, you can do 20, 30 readings a day. If you're working with spirit, you would burn yourself out and you wouldn't last 5 minutes.
Yeah. People who have a lot of connection to spirit often find the energy gets too much and they get ill and things like that.
They do,
I've got a
because
friend.
they overwork themselves.
Yeah.
What
I've got
about the
a friend,
story
actually.
about your dog, Jean?
Pardon?
Do you remember the story about your dog?
Which one?
The one that got kidnapped up?
Oh, yes.
That was an interesting spirit
Yes, it
showed
was.
you.
Well, in the beginning, I used to receive a lot of teachings in dream state. Very valuable teachings in dream state. But someone who, God help him, we'd helped both him and his wife, or the woman he was living with. We'd been of great assistance to them. They had nothing, and we helped them in many ways. And I got her a job, and however, we had a black Alsatian, and we had this tiny black Italian greyhound. They look more like a what do you call them, not greyhound, whippets.
Whippet, yeah.
She was absolutely lovely. Anyway, we sort of had words. Well, he had words with us. We just had a request to make to him, and it wasn't anything absolutely dreadful. It was a case, well, I'll tell you, he was a butcher. We actually got him a job, and I got her a job, and we got her a home, and they repaid our friendship by, I'd had to ask them if he would not come at 4 o'clock in the morning and chop his meat because we lived above the shop and we were getting very little sleep at that time. There was an awful lot of break-ins and what have you. Anyway, when my husband came and said, "Is the dog here?" He used to open the gates for the shops in the morning. I immediately saw this person in my head and I said, "So-and-so has the dog." No, don't be so stupid. However, my other dog went straight to this man's boot of his car. That dog was missing for 6 weeks. Now I wanted to contact a Mr. Bryson, who is dead now, but he ran a horse protection society. I think it was Berkeley, if I remember correctly. And my friends kept saying, she couldn't have got there, it's too far. It was about 14 miles from where we lived. However, when we actually did get her back, I went on the radio, adverts in the papers, walked the streets. When we did get her back, it was Christmas time, and I thought I'll try the radio once more. And this man rang up and said, I think my sister has your dog, but what I haven't told you, which I must tell you now, I've been to my meditation group in church, my development class, and I concentrated on her, and I saw her galloping across the green towards the road, and I automatically thought, she's going to get run over, so I cut that off. Now, when we found her, she was in a street, she was staying in a house in Galloping Green Road, and I believe that's Berkeley, opposite some caterpillar plant thing, you know, these big machinery, caterpillars, whatever they call it. Anyway, she was living there, and if I had rang Mr. Bryson, these people were personal friends of Mr. Bryson and the Horse Protection Society, and he would have told me straight away that these people had my dog. So that's how Spirit get their message across.
So
I
that's
got
Karen Dream.
not running, galloping across a green towards the road, but automatically material mind, she's going to get run over.
So this man had sold your dog. He'd sold your dog to these people.
No, they found her.
Oh, they found
They
it.
dumped the dog,
Oh,
he
they
got the
dumped
dog, and 20 minutes after he took the dog, it was outside of the building where we got them as a job on a golf course. And she was just sitting there, because my dogs never ever left us, never. They didn't have to wear a leader or a collar because they never left outside.
That's a lovely story. It shows that Spirit will work with us. Spirit is,
That's correct, they will.
they will work with it if you can.
Yeah.
But it's a question of learning to trust and learning to.
The thing was, within the year, he was bankrupt and lost his shop.
I don't know what.
You know, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to wish anything. It's what you call cause and effect. Years ago, they used to say it was an angry God. Of course, it's not. It's what you have caused, and it's the effect of what you have caused, and it always comes back.
It's karma.
It's karma.
I've discovered that in my own life, actually. I discovered that karma does seem to be real, and it's my actions do. I found that actions I've had have led to consequences, and sometimes I've done a bad thing, and it comes back on me. Sometimes it's very quickly. In one case, it was less than a minute, and two completely unconnected. Basically what happened was I had an argument with my friend once, and we ended up having a fight, and I hurt him badly, and I walked off really, really angry down a road, and it was literally less than a minute later I walked past these other people, and one of them came up and they punched me in the face, and I fell flat down. There's nothing to do with it, what happened before. It's never happened to me before or since, but it was almost as if my own anger had brought that on myself. You know?
Yes,
And I went and apologised to my friend the next day, and we made it up. But it was very, very. It was in retrospect, it was a very interesting experience. It taught me a lot, you know. It taught me a lot about how the universe works.
So, you know, when June did the trance, it used to be the red light.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
quite common. I've seen in seances and things.
Yeah.
So this is another.
That's the reason for
That's
Some more
it.
pictures.
That was taken at standstill. Can you see the growth on the forehead?
Yes, I can. Can you see that, ladies and gentlemen? Hold that just closer to the lens for me. Yeah. Yes, I can.
Now, here, look, here you have the ectoplasm. Can you see that?
Yes,
This is the ectoplasm. Look at the shape of the hands.
I can. Yes.
They look massive, but I call this my empty-headed friend, because if you look at this, you will see there's a mirror at the side of the cabinet, and you can see straight through her head
Yes.
into the mirror.
Transparent.
Yes.
You see
Don't
this
ask me how
figure
that
here?
works.
Yeah.
I have no idea how that works. But here, when people sit for phenomena, they always complain about the cold
Yeah.
in their legs. That looks like a blanket over my knees. It's the ectoplasm, which is not always seen like that. If you look at that, you can see it's resting over your knees. You go very cold from the waist down, very cold.
People report that. It's not something that I've ever experienced myself, but I
No.
know people who've been at seances and they've experienced it, and they
Drop
told me
in
that. Yes.
temperature.
Yeah, and this is of course the picture I showed you at the beginning
Yeah.
of the face of the.
Well, if you look at this, you'll see my throat is not like that at all.
No,
The energy is
that doesn't look anything like you. No.
the energy is piped up through these cords here, right? This area opens right up. Look at this one.
Yeah. It's like you have
You see?
something down on your chest here.
Yeah, yeah.
Have another look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, pussycat.
We have these in slides, of course, which is far better.
And they're on
to see.
your documentary as well, I noticed. I saw you've got some film
Yeah,
of yourself on your documentary.
yeah. But it's exciting when these things happen, when you get this evidence, because
It's draining, physically draining for the medium.
it can be,
Does it make you
because really everybody in that room is providing the energy that the medium needs to work with. And that energy, remember, is thought, right? And I found the easiest way to describe energy is to say to people, if you call it your friends and they've had a row, you don't need them to tell you they've had a row, because you feel it.
Yes.
Yes, you feel it.
Yeah.
If you go for a new house and you walk in, you either like the energy there, or you say, oh no, this house isn't
I
for
know,
me.
it's ambience, I think is
Yeah.
the word they use.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's-
just, you get a feeling something's wrong
That's right.
somewhere. I've had that many times. Yeah.
So these people who want so much to get this evidence, they go with the wrong attitude. They're creating the wrong energy for anything to happen for them.
I see. Yeah.
Can you understand that?
Yeah, I see. So it's about set and setting, as they say. So it's you got to be in the right frame of mind. As you say.
Well, you just have to be open-minded. Open-minded. You don't have to go believing, because Spirit can change that for you. But it's just bearing an open mind. But if you go with so much animosity in you, you're killing the energy that is needed to produce this phenomenon.
Right, yeah. Right, okay. Well, it's been really good talking to you. It's been really interesting what we've been talking about.
Well, we don't have long to get so much in, and we can't really put.
It'd be
We
great to
just tip of the iceberg.
just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sorry we can't stay for longer. Maybe I can come. I'll be back. I'll come back another day. Maybe talk to you again.
Is that a promise or
Oh.
a threat?
But thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Gene Skinner, the medium. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.